So last year, my stocks and shares ISA made more money than my full-time job. I'm going to share with you a little insight into the numbers, why I started doing it, how I started doing it, and how you can do it yourself. So let's get into it. First and foremost, who am I? I'm a pretty average guy. I'm married with 2 kids, live in the northeast of England. I earn a decent salary. I've worked hard to progress my career, turned 40 last year, and I've been investing now for around 9 years. And in that period, my stocks and shares ISA has grown significantly through my contributions. I've invested heavily in there through my salary, through some side hustles that I've done, but also compounding, and how compounding started to take an impact. I guess taking it right back, so why did I start? Why did I start this? 9 years ago, it was a bit of a whim, really. I read a Tony Robbins book. I stumbled upon Mr. Money Mustache, who a few of you may be familiar with, which is the financial independence, retire early movement. And I've always been like a little bit disillusioned by the kind of traditional model, which is, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you work for 40 years, you finally retire, and then, you might have 5, 10, 15, 20 years of life retired if you're lucky. But at that point, a lot of us, or a lot of people, unfortunately, their health has declined. There's less they can do. Their family's grown up. And a lot of them, most important moments in life have kind of passed them by, and they are towards the end of their lives. And that just didn't sit right with me. I just thought, this can't be right. This, there must be a better way to do this. And when I stumbled upon that financial independence, I thought, yes, this is for me. And I went all in. I researched it. I become obsessed with investing and trying to do it. I saved as much as I could. But I started really small. When I first started out doing this, my salary was £23,000. So yes, 9 years ago. Obviously, inflation since then, it'll be worth more. But I wasn't on megabucks. I'm on a much better salary than that now. Probably more than three times that now. But part of my journey to financial independence is motivated me to earn more money, both in my day job, but also through side hustles. And that's because I want to get as much money as I can invested to build up this pot of money. I call it a freedom fund. It's my money in there, or my family's money, so we can do what we want. We can go away for 6 weeks in the summer, or at a point, if things continue to go the way they are, I should be at a point where I can be financially independent in 4 years. And should we choose to as a family, my wife and I could retire, and we could just live off the investments. I think that's increasingly more unlikely that we'll do that. What I'm more interested in doing is projects like this, things that really excite me, rather than the kind of 9 to 5 in the day job. And I don't mind my job. It's not the worst job in the world. I get paid well. I get, good money for what I do, but it doesn't light my fire. It doesn't get me out of bed. It is a job. It's a means to an end. So this financial freedom's given me a lot of options, so I can do things. And even now, I'm in a position where I don't have to do things that I don't really want to, because I've got that kind of, pardon my French, that fuck you money, where I've got money in the bank. If work was really bad and I wanted to change, I could do it. And we've got, enough money to sustain us for a long period of time. So that's kind of why I did it. And, it's proven really successful. In this 9 years, we've had a family, we've had 2 kids, and that's really kind of cemented for me why I'm doing this. So I can spend more time with family, with the kids. We're not going to get these years back. Speak to any parent who's got kids who are a little bit older, and they'll say, those are the good years and they go so quickly, make the most of them. But the truth is, most people don't make the most of them. They just pass us by in the blink of an eye, and before you know it, the kids are 16 and they don't want to talk to you. So I wanted to make sure that I could make the most of these years and we could do things as well. So I haven't lived like a monk. We're not super frugal like a lot of these extreme fire personalities, where they'll eat noodles every day and they won't spend any money. We've definitely got a balance there where we enjoy nice holidays, but I'm not materialistic like I used to be, or certainly not as materialistic. We don't, spend money on designer clothes and various different things, because that lifestyle inflation or that lifestyle creep is really what can kill you. Because I think most people just spend what they earn. And when you get a raise, it goes into something else, whether it be a bigger house or a new car or a fancy holiday. And we've made a real conscious effort not to do that. And we actually do the opposite. We try to increase our investments. So every 3 to 6 months or so, I look at the amount that I invest and I'll try and increase that. Even if it's a nominal amount like 10, 20, 50 quid, whatever it might be, I try and increase that regularly. Over the years, that creeps up. And gets to a point. I'm now investing around £20,000 a year, so that's kind of the number that we're at now. That's through side hustles. My wife does that with me as well through my job, and we'll get to the point. And like I said, last year, 2025, was the first time that my investments actually made more than my day job. And I earn, a decent wage, more than minimum wage, and it was really staggering to see. That was the first time I looked at that and thought, wow, this is nuts. Have those big numbers in your investment account and actually making that money for nothing. And that's not the right way to look at it, because obviously I've done the groundwork and built that pot, but I didn't do any manual labor for that. And throughout my life up to this point, I've always earned money through manual labor. So seeing those numbers in my kind of stocks and shares account was wild. So I think important, I want to make this actionable. If there's people, if you're watching this and you're thinking, wow, where do you get started? It sounds great, Stu, but like, where do you get started? It's really easy. If you're in the UK like I am, open a stocks and shares ISA or your pension. Two great ways of doing this. Your stocks and shares ISA is a great tool because the money you put in is tax-free. So when you take the money back out, there's no tax on it. And obviously all the money that compounds and builds is the same. So as your money in your pot grows, that's all tax-free, which is great. The advantage of your pension over that is it's tax relief at source. So any money you put into your pension, you don't pay tax on that. It goes straight into your investments. The problem for me with the pension was, I'm at the mercy of the government. It's likely 57 at the moment before you can access a pension, or that's the earliest age for somebody around my age. But in truth, that could change. That could change tomorrow. The government could increase that to 60, 65, whatever. I don't know. And I didn't want to wait that long for my money. I want to be in a position where I'm financially independent and could retire if I choose to at 45, which is 4 years away. So that gives you an idea of what goal I'm working towards here. So that's the big thing. Get started. I use Vanguard. This isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm actually, a bit of a layman when it comes to this, and that's part of the thing that's served me well, because I'm not an expert in investing, because I haven't tried to stock pick or time my investments. I've simply got a direct debit that goes into my Vanguard life strategy. It's not life strategy. I used to have a life strategy fund. It's a all world fund. Goes in there every month, come rain or shine, and I just leave it and let it set and forget. Try and increase it. Also now when we get windfalls, if that's, I haven't had any, but if it was inheritance or if it was, I've had bonuses from work, commission, different things like that, we try to put a significant amount of that into the ISA as well. So we've done a lot of that over the last 9 years or so. And it's really easy to do. Like I say, you can go to Vanguard. I think trading 212 is really popular now. A lot of the YouTubers will recommend those guys. I'm not giving you any affiliate links or anything or recommending anything. I'm just sharing what I do, and that's being with Vanguard. The important thing is making sure that the fees are low, that the fees that they charge you for doing that alone, both Vanguard and trading 212 are pretty good in that area. So get started. The second thing I would say is pay yourself first. If you think about all of your bills and even, tax, going back to when you pay tax on your salary, the government take money first from you. So do your bills. Most people have their bills go out in the first of the month after they get paid, because the institutions, the government, know that if they don't take that when you first get paid, you probably won't have anything left at the end of the month. And your investments are the same. That's why it's important to pay yourself first. So when you get your salary, try and take a percentage of your salary and put it straight into your investment account. A great number to start with is 10% if you can. Now, I know there'll be people watching saying, that's not possible, Stu, that's too much, whatever. And that's fine. Everybody's circumstances are different. But if you can, start with 10% and just try and increase that gradually. And it's funny, and I can only speak from personal experience and other people who've done this. But when you get started, you don't miss it. It just goes out, goes into your account, and you don't actually miss it. So that's number one first. Pay yourself first. Open the account, pay yourself first. The second thing is stick with it, right? It's frustratingly slow. It takes a long time for compounding to kick in. The first, 3, 4, 5 years, you're probably going to get nothing and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to want to pack in. But the discipline's the thing that's got to keep you going. You've got to keep doing it. And if you can keep doing that and get back past that point, it starts to, grow very quickly. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett all talk about getting to the first 100 grand. When you get to 100 grand, the compounding starts to make a real impact. My investments have made over 13% since I started. So it's a significant amount, but 13% on 100 quid, 13 quid, 13% on 100 grand, 13 grand. That starts to have a real significant impact. So that's the second thing I would say, is really stick with it. The third thing is try and grow your income. This has been a big thing for me with side hustles, with other projects that I've done at work, asking for raises, leaving jobs and moving elsewhere. Now I'm really conscious of that. I want to always try and make more money so I can invest it in the right way, because I'm not wasting that money. I'm keeping that money and I'm building that pot. So we've got that for investment purposes. Those are the real things I would say. You know, this isn't rocket science. I think a lot of the financial advisors out there trying to make us think it is, and that's so they can kind of justify their fees and their charges. You know, that's how they make a living, which is fine. I'm not trying to kick anyone, but you can do this yourself with very little research. You know, Andrew Craig, who's the author of How to Own the World, talks about how it's easier to learn your investments than it is to drive, and that's so true. And you know, I'm living proof for that. I'm certainly not a financial advisor. I'm no expert, but I've done pretty well, and I've probably been able to get returns better than the vast majority of financial advisors or, you know, experts who do this for a living. So that's it really. I'm going to share my journey and how this goes, probably get more into the numbers in future videos, you know, and kind of unwrap this, and I'll be sharing videos every week. So if it's something that is up your street and you want to follow along, subscribe, like and comment below. Any comments, let me know and I'll make sure I get back to you. Cheers.